Welcome to this wintry edition of Witchcraft Diaries. As the snow is falling and making an enchanted landscape over the heath, I thought that I'd spend today doing a little video about the magical Snow Queen and the Frost Fairies. As the snow falls and turns the landscape into a magical wonderland, it's easy for us in the modern age, with our gloves and our heaters at home and hot chocolate ready for us, to think of the winter and the snow as a magical escape. Somewhere to play, somewhere to have fun, and somewhere to find enchantment. And indeed it is. Yet to those who lived before central heating and gas fires, it was beautiful, it was wonderful, but it could also be very, very dangerous. It could freeze the life out of you, quite literally. Many myths and legends have arose around the Snow Queen and the Snow Fairies and Frost Fairies. Yet in our modern day and age, fairy tale has led us to believe that the Snow Queen is a cold and heartless character, someone who steals children, someone who is unfeeling to the core. Yet this wasn't always the case. We shouldn't fluff up ice and snow. It is still dangerous. Obviously it's still cold, and to many it can cause accident and injury. And all the little birdies that are around, it's very hard for them when the water is scarce and sort of frozen and the food is minor. But there's much magic about snow, and in the myths and the legends of the Snow Fairies and the Snow Queens, there's also much warmth and interesting lessons to be learned. The Snow Queen is an aspect of ancient goddesses. The tales of these ancient goddesses are particularly prevalent in Teutonic Europe, in Germanic traditions, and also in Scandinavian traditions. And the goddess who is most often represented as the Snow Queen, or an aspect of the Snow Queen, was named Frau Holla, or Hulda, and in Scandinavian folklore she's called the Huldra. Now there's many different aspects of this goddess. Much fairy tale tells Frau Holla as being a lovely, warm, kind and generous grandma goddess kind of figure, like all the fairy godmothers that you find in the Grimm's fairy tales and Hans Christian Andersen. And again, a lot of the tales that we do have, we have to be aware they were rewritten in the 1700s by the Brothers Grimm, and so therefore there would be some different, maybe Christian or tastes of the time overtones we put upon them. But the legends of Frau Holla and Hulda and the Huldra are ancient indeed. So the tales of Frau Holla would be, again, I do apologise, I always apologise for my pronunciations, but you know, have to do it, are of being, she was loved children, she nurtured and took care of children, but she's also a goddess of witches and a goddess of the winter and a goddess of the wild places. That sort of thing you don't see so much in the everyday fairy tale. She was known to have very celestial origins. She would fly across the sky at midwinter and shake her pillows or mattresses, and snow would fall all over the land. She would also be linked to the wild hunt, and I might come back to that in just a second. And over the 12 days after Christmas, she would be seen across the sky riding with the wild hunt. There's a link with Frau Holla that she may be related to Frigga as well, Frigga, who is Odin's wife in Norse mythology. And Odin and Woden, they're very much linked to the wild hunt as well. She's also linked to spinning and weaving and very domesticated areas, which links to Frigga. And it's in old traditions, there are some prohibitions around spinning over the 12 days of Christmas. So while Frau Holla is flying across the sky like that plane, you weren't allowed to spin, or there was many limitations around spinning and weaving at that time. So there's many kind and caring and powerful elements that link the Snow Queen to our traditions. Sorry, the frost is making me stutter. Other elements of the Snow Queen and in the aspect of Frau Holla and Hulda and the Huldra is that midwinter is a very, very important time for her, because she was a nature and spirit of place goddess. In the wild places when there'd be no humans around, because this was before central heating in the winter, she was a goddess and celebrated at this time. So yes, she was kind and she loved children, but if you were impolite or disrespectful to her, there are many tales that she would give you bad luck or that you'd be in lots of trouble. But if you were polite, which is a real link to lots of fairy tales, if you're polite to fairies, or if you are if you show respect, you do well. If you are rude and slovenly and stubborn, you don't do so well. These tales also go across to Russian fairy tales as well, where you have Father Frost, and he was known to freeze and to kill travellers. I guess in Russia, where it's very, 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 very cold, you would take the element of frost and snow and the gods of the winter and the frost and snow very, very seriously. But again, there's a very similar fairy tale linking Father Frost to Frau Holle, because it's the same tale of a beautiful but badly treated by her stepmother maiden being sent out into the cold, but because she didn't complain and she was so polite to Father Frost, he not only saved her, but he gave her loads of gold and sent her back rich and most beautiful maid in town. So when the mother sent the other favourite daughter out there, who was rude and slovenly, and she was rude to Father Frost, yes, he killed her. He froze her. So there's an element that, yes, of course, we shouldn't fluff up and look at everything through rose-tinted glasses with snow and snow fairies. You know, this is stuff that can chill the very soul. This is ice and this is dangerous. But also there's a warm, caring side, and if you show proper respect, then you may do well seeking out the company of the Snow Queen or Father Frost. Looking up to Frost Fairies and the Snow Queen in the Hans Christian Andersen tale, where she was very cold and she froze the heart of the main boy character, Kay. I think we can go to the fact that fairies are often, and pretty much always, very, very different, almost alien to humans. The way we see the world and the things that we need are different to what the frost fairies and what the elementals and the fairies see the world and what they need. So it just shows us that, you know, we can walk in the snow, we can walk with the snow fairies and the frost queens, but we must also be aware that we cannot be in their world because their world would freeze us to the core. It also brings me briefly to how each snowflake, each of these millions of snowflakes that are falling, are uniquely crafted. Each one is, as you know, completely unique. And the precision and beauty of snow queens and frost fairies is something to think about. We often see the envision of the Snow Queen as someone who is very beautiful, yet a little aloof and cold. There's an energy of precision, there's an energy of the kind of the cool rational thought that comes into mind when working with the frost fairies and the snow queens, but also there's the passion and the force of nature. So maybe next time you spend some time in the snow, talk to the Snow Queen, talk to the snow fairies, walk with them for a while, but remember they're not part of their world, and we can always go back to our hot chocolate at the end of a nice cold day. Oi! Oh, missed. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment, or maybe you want to put your thoughts about the video down below here. Like and subscribe, and if you would like to follow me on Twitter, I would love to see you there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.